So thank you again for joining the AIA New Jersey Women in Architecture Committee for our presentation today. I'm Alina, the chair of WIA this year. The mission of the AIA New Jersey Women in Architecture Committee is to champion the role of women in architecture by cultivating a community, fostering fellowship, and advancing educational initiatives. We strive to promote, validate, and illuminate the invaluable contributions of women within the architectural field. We strive to awareness about women's impactful contributions to the built environment, create a networking hub that celebrates and supports the achievements of women in the field. Here in New Jersey, we lead efforts to increase diversity by actively advocating for women's advancement into leadership roles. And we serve as a vocal advocate for addressing and resolving issues that affect women within the profession. And now I would like to introduce our speaker today. Mugdha is a licensed architect in New Jersey. Her expertise spans diverse architectural projects and project roles, including industrial projects, warehouses, retail, restaurants, core and shell, and K-12 education. She successfully manages multiple clients concurrently. Mugdha is known for delivering on-time and profitable creative architectural solutions that prioritize customer satisfaction. She's also involved in mentorship for the AIA Architectural Mentorship Program and the ACE Mentorship Program. If you have any questions or comments during today's presentation, please use the chat button to share, and we'll answer your questions and comments after the presentation. Please don't forget to mute yourself. And now I would like to welcome Mugdha. Thank you, Mugdha.
Thank you, Elena, for that wonderful introduction. I'm so honored to be part of this 3-session series for empowering women in architecture that is organized by WIA. I want to thank Elena for thinking about me and this session to be part of this series. I hope most of you have attended the previous 2 sessions. I personally loved attending both Stop Overworking Formula by Maya and Waking Up to Conscious Leadership by Gina. Last year, when we attended the Women's Leadership Summit in Boston, Gina's session was full and I was not able to attend it. And I'm so glad WIA was able to bring Gina to New Jersey through this series. So, a little bit about me before we begin. This is my family. I think my biggest achievement is being the mom of these 2 kind and happy teenage boys. My older one, Soham, is a sophomore in college, and my younger one, Adi, is a high school junior. Other than that, I am in the field of architecture for over 17 years now. I'm a licensed architect for over 13 years. I love gardening, cooking, baking, having family and friends over, cooking and baking for them. Gardening is comparatively a newer hobby. Pre-COVID, I was that person who killed cactus also. But now I can say I'm a proud owner of 50 plus beautiful houseplants. In short, this slide essentially sums up everything that gives me happiness in my life. So before we get into the technical part of this seminar, I want to emphasize that for me, happiness is the key to life. And my simple formula for the daily happiness is time management that leads to work-life balance, which further leads to mental well-being. So if you are good at time management, you can achieve a great work-life balance, which will help reduce the stress in daily life and help with mental well-being. And mental well-being is essential for a happy life. Now I know it is easier said than done, but I'm sure we will all learn a few great techniques in today's session that help me in my life. In my life to find my happiness in the daily work. I always tell my kids, if you are happy, success will follow. But if you run behind success and compromise happiness, that success will not mean much in your personal life in the longer run. So I have divided today's session into these 3 segments: time management, work-life balance, and mental well-being. I want today's session to be interactive. So please, as Elena said, keep adding questions in the chat as we go through the presentation. I have tried to keep last 10-15 minutes for open discussion, and I would be happy to revisit any slide if needed. So let's start with stress. What is stress? The American Institute of Stress says there is no definition of stress that everyone agrees on. What is stress? For one person, may be pleasurable or have little to no effect on others, right? We all react to stress differently. Now, if that is correct, let's think for a minute. What is stress for you in particular? If we take a step back and ask ourselves, do I really like what I do on the daily basis? If your answer is no, then that is a separate discussion you need to have with yourself. If your answer is yes, I absolutely love what I do, then we can continue this discussion further and find ways to handle the stress. Is stress always a bad thing? I personally feel some stress is always good, as it helps you work harder, stay focused, and achieve your goal. Now, if you're stressed with the work of your liking, there may be a few things that can contribute to that stress. It can be generated due to the lack of time management. The lack of time management can affect the work life balance, further adding to the stress. Eventually, this stress piling up on the daily basis starts affecting the mental well being and again takes a toll on the physical health. Stress can be due to the lack of knowledge in the field, and this is, I think, especially true for the architectural field. Um, Having that mentor or a to go person is very, very important in our field. Stress can be result of dealing with difficult personalities, which I'm sure all of us had to deal with every now and then, and can cause a lot of anxiety, again leading towards stress. Stress can be because, and again, this is more for architectural field, I think, because you like part of the work that you're doing, but maybe not the work entirely. For example, a friend of mine always says that she loves the designing aspect of architecture and nothing that comes after that. And that can be true for so many of us, right? Some of us may hate dealing with the construction administration phase, looking at the shop drawings, RFIs, submittals. But then some people may just enjoy being on the construction sites, right? Some of us may enjoy being focused and getting the drawings done, while some of us may just enjoy doing the business development, connecting with new people. And if and when you're required to do what you're not naturally comfortable doing, that can cause a lot of stress. But having said that, for today's session, we are going to stay with time management and work life balance as causes of stress. Okay, so before we start talking about time management, I would love to have your inputs on some of these questions. I'm going to share this site, Mentimeter. I'm not sure if you guys have used it, but I would request you all to take out your phones. And this is how it works. So if you scan this QR code on your phone, you will be able to participate in a live session. And as I go on changing the slides and you see the questions, you will be able to add your inputs to that questions. Okay, I see a lot of thumbs up. So I'm assuming people can see the page and are able to get into menti.com. All right, I'll give you a couple of seconds so everybody is on the page and can access it. Okay, let's go to the first question. How good are you at managing your time on a scale of 1 to 10? And go on adding your questions. Okay. 9, 8, fantastic. 7. Awesome. I think we have a lot of people who are really great at managing their time today. And maybe you can share your experiences and your methods towards the end of this session. All right, next slide. Do you use any time management tools, meaning block time in the calendar, set up reminders, have a to-do list, anything, whatever your methods may be for the time management tools? Okay. Amazing. I think we have a lot more people who are using some tools, and I would definitely like to know towards the end, are they different than what I use, or are they, some of them are similar, and it would be nice to share additional information with all of us. Okay, I'm going to go to the next question. Do you set up tasks for yourself to achieve at the end of each day? Okay. No, that is fantastic. I mean, architects are fundamentally very organized people, right? So I wouldn't be surprised. Awesome. One more question. Do you work with a to-do list? Okay, most of us do, looks like. All right, and I think the last one. What is your biggest challenge in time management? Is it procrastination, distraction, perfect? Do you get overwhelmed, interruptions, right? Deadlines, avoiding tasks I don't want to do. Yes, staying focused. Only happen in office. Okay. Too many meetings. I agree with that. I think we all can definitely reduce on too many meetings. When there is a leader with poor management skills. Okay. Accomplishing the to do, staying focused. All right. I think we have some wonderful answers here. And thank you so much for sharing what you do. So let's start with the presentation. Parkinson's law says work expands to fill the time available for its completion. When you have a lot of time to complete a task, it is easy to push it off until later. But if you plan your time carefully and set deadlines for yourself, you can avoid falling into the procrastination trap. Now, architecture is a field that asks a lot from us. And we as architects are those people who want to give it all and all that we have and all that we can, right? No matter how stressful, the satisfaction of completing a successful project in timely manner is always rewarding. Um, if I can, I want to take a minute here to explain why and how I decided to take this topic for today's discussion. Or rather, when I started working with a small group of people in the architectural mentorship program, this is the topic that I started with. In my previous life, in the firm that I was working with, I was assigned to one of their very important client who had 100 plus projects all over the US. And the timeline for production was very aggressive as they needed to complete a specific number of projects by the end of the year to stay profitable. It was a publicly traded company. My performance was noticed by everyone and was very much appreciated. And hence, I was requested to help on another client that needed similar attention. Everyone assumed that I would have to give up the first account in order to stay focused and be successful with the new account. I requested them to let me give it a try and and not to take the first account from me. They agreed, but I know as a fact that nobody believed at that time that I would be able to handle both such big accounts together. A few months into the new project, I was comfortably handling the second account as the only dedicated resource without giving up any of my responsibilities with my first client. And I also always accepted many miscellaneous projects on the side. At that time, I was asked by our director, how do I manage my time with such heavy workload without exceeding 40 hours on most of my work weeks? And he asked if I could take a session on time management. This is a few years back. And back then, I laughed it off. I said, I don't have any methods. I'm a very old school person. I don't do the Excel charts. I don't understand them. I just work with my to-do list very regularly. So this happened multiple times after that, where I was questioned and even appreciated for my ability to manage my time so successfully. So at one point, I took it seriously and started analyzing what I did different than others to be able to do more work in less time. I realized I planned my time better. Although I did not have the formal Excel charts or anything, I'm always aware of my workload because I did the to do list every day and I prioritized work daily. I avoided distractions and I was focused when I knew I had to get something done. The more work I had, the more efficient I was with my time. I always try to finish my time on the same day that I have assigned, or at least I try on most of the days. So as I started preparing for this seminar, I realized that most of what I was doing are actually the proven methods for successful time management. So in short, I realized there was some method to my madness. So before I discuss my methods or what worked for me over the years, I would like to share some proven and established methods of time management with you all. And I think these are some very commonly used methods. Some of you, as we clearly saw in the poll, that a lot of people among us do have time management tools. So you may be familiar with these or you may be using some other methods. So these are the four that we are going to discuss today, real quick. The action priority matrix, also called as Eisenhower matrix, Pomodoro technique, task batching, and time blocking. So the action priority metric. So this is a chart that is plotted from low to high efforts against low to high impact. And the tasks are divided into these four rectangles. Let's review them real quick. Let's start with the green square, the quick wins. High impact with low effort. These are the tasks that will have good impact with little effort, and these are the ones that should be prioritized. The gray blue square, major projects. High effort, but it will also have high impact. These are the tasks that are important as these will have significant impact or result, but they are also the ones that are going to require considerable time from you. So these are the tasks that we need to schedule over a longer period of time. The third one, the yellow orange square, fill-ins. Low impact, low effort. Mostly the task that needs to get done, but may not necessarily require your own time. So, I mean, look into what you're doing or what you can categorize under here, but maybe this can be used as a mentoring opportunity. And if this is a repetitive task, maybe this can be taught to somebody, or you can you can explain it to somebody so that person can help you on the next project. So these are your fill-ins. And the last, the orange one, thankless task, because obviously it is requiring high effort and probably is giving you little to no impact, right? So try to see if this can be avoided or completely removed from your list, especially if the result of putting high effort are insignificant and you can better use that time for something else, maybe to do your quick wins, right? So I think this is a very simple and logical matrix and very easy to be that we can adapt in our daily lives. The next one is the Pomodoro technique. So Pomodoro technique was developed in late 1980s by then university student Francisco Cirillo. Cirillo was struggling to stay focused on his studies and complete assignments. So feeling overwhelmed, he asked himself to commit just 10 minutes of focused study time. Encouraged with the challenge, he found a tomato-shaped kitchen timer and Pomodoro technique was born. So how do you use the Pomodoro technique? Get your to-do list and a timer. Set your timer for 25 minutes and focus on a single task until the timer rings. When your session ends, mark off one Pomodoro and record what you completed. Then enjoy a 5-minute break. After 4 Pomodoro, take a longer, more restorative 15 to 30 minutes break. Again, a very simple, and I'm pretty sure most of us probably follow some form of this technique while trying to get the work done. And the next two, task batching and time blocking, exactly how it sounds, right? Task batching is grouping similar tasks together to complete all at once. The simplest example I can think of is, rather than responding to your emails every 5-10 minutes when it pops up, maybe you can assign time in the morning and probably towards the end of the day before you log off, and see if you can get group responding to emails together. And time blocking, again, as it sounds, dividing the day into blocks of time, and each block is dedicated to a specific task. So these are the proven methods. Let's see what what has helped me over the years. And this overlaps with what we discussed, I think. Make a to-do list. I always my I always start my day with a to-do list. Most trusted method to keep track of my workload. Add to it as needed, and scratch off if you have completed the task, or highlight, because highlighting gives a better sense of achievement, of completion, I think. Prioritize and sequence the work. Try to get small tasks that require small time out of your way at the beginning of the day, so they don't stay on my mind bugging me for the entire day. For example, if your to-do list is of 10 items, not every item from the to-do list would require 2 hours, 3 hours of time, right? Some of them could be like 1 minute task, 5 minute task, half an hour task. So prioritizing is not always prioritizing per importance of the task, as per me. Uh, I would use my first couple of hours in my day to see what are my quick tasks. And it could be sending an email, making a quick phone call, sharing a file with the consultant, giving someone some direction on the work that they are doing and waiting on you. So suddenly, uh, your 10th item to-do list now becomes 4 item to-do list, and you probably have 6 hours left because you tried to get like these small items out of your way, right? Um, Give yourself extra time in project schedule. So when I schedule my project milestone, I add some buffers in the timeline. Um, uh, in architecture, we work with a larger group of teams. We have MEP, structural, specification writer, and production staff, so on, right? So we are dependent to meet the deadline that we are working towards. We are dependent on everybody's schedule to work perfectly, and nothing can go wrong in a perfect world, which doesn't happen, right? So I like to add some additional days in my project schedule or the milestones that I define. So this gives me time if somebody is delayed, or if there are last minute changes, which we know is always the case in our profession, or something is not coordinated. So not having to go back to the client requesting extra time can be very helpful in reducing the stress. So I always use this method. Focus while getting things done. I think a few years back, when all of us were used to working in cubicles, we had these like taller partitions with the sound absorbing material on it. So although you're sitting in a larger hall with many people, you can still in that, because of those partition, you can still be not bothered with what is happening in the office and focus and try to get the things done. Today's open work environment, I love that. It is absolutely great. And in my case, I have interiors team on one side, I have civil team behind me, I have marketing team in front of me, architecture on one side. So it is really wonderful to work in an integrated work environment in the open office settings, because you are part of everything. You know what is happening, you know what other teams are working on. You're not just like looking at what you are doing. And that interaction is really great in our field. But does it always help when you want to focus and get things done? Because your deadlines are not going to be the deadlines of your coworkers some of the times, right? So when you want to stay focused in these kind of situations, try to see what options are available. I mean, today we have a lot of flexibility. Most of the offices are hybrid. See if you can choose your days to work from home. If you know you don't want to be disturbed on that day, maybe that is your day to work from home. Or if you're still in the office, we have these huddle rooms, conferences room. See if you can go into a conference room, lock yourself, and try to stay focused in getting what you want to get done. Give your 100% undivided attention while doing the assigned task. So, this is almost the extension of staying focused. But a little more I want to add to that. The emails. Every 5-10 minutes, the emails are coming up, and every time it pops, you have this urge to at least read through it. Or again, Teams. Just like the open work environment, Teams is a wonderful tool to stay connected with your coworkers, but it is a distraction when you want to stay focused and give your 100%, right? Somebody cracks a joke and you have like 100 messages following that, which is again amazing when you have all the time in the world, but not always. So simple things, you can close Outlook, mute Teams, and see if that can avoid you staying away from the distractions. Take small breaks and use that time to unwind and connect with coworkers. This is almost similar to the Pomodoro technique that we just discussed. So, if we are staying focused and if we are giving our 100%, you are going to get exhausted if you do that for 8 hours constantly, right? So, maybe do it for 2 hours, take some break, coffee time, talk to your coworkers, understand what are the team messages that you missed, maybe respond to some of them. It will charge you again, and then you can be focused and try to get the things done that are on your list for that day. Assign a specific time to every task. So I think we have a tendency, if we start assigning time on our to-do list, we have a tendency to assign a little more time than what would require to actually finish that task. But if you are staying focused and if you are giving your 100%, and we just discussed, there is a possibility that you may finish that task in the time that is in lesser time than what you had assigned. And that adds to your day. That extra time that you're saving adds to your day. Have your me time. Always respect your own time and try to have a hard stop at the end of the day, every day. I love spending time with my family, cooking for my kids, giving some time to myself to work out, watch television, anything that I want to do. If you still don't have a family, I would say still respect your time. Um, do anything that you want to do. Cook, exercise, run, paint, anything that gives you happiness. Change of work always adds to the energy level. Schedule additional time after hours for work if needed, if it is absolutely necessary, which is the case more than often in architecture. Try to get back to work for some time before you go to bed, especially if that gives you a jump start on your next day or helps you plan your next day better. I think it will definitely help reduce the stress. Try not to make it a habit. And lastly, find your meditation. Now, I'm not a person who can meditate. I cannot focus. So, we are not going to do any meditative activities here. I'm using the word meditation in a very generic sense. What does meditation mean? Meditation helps you connect with yourself. Meditation helps you de-stress. Meditation helps you re-energize. So, what is your meditation? For me, after a very hectic day at work, when I come home and start cooking, that almost works like meditation for me. Now, I'm absolutely not saying because cooking works like meditation for me, it should work for like meditation for you. Uh, but for me, I use that time to catch up on the phone with a friend, um, watch a series that is on my list, listen to a podcast, or just listen to some music to lighten up my mood. It always works for me. So these are some of my methods that I have used very, very religiously, probably not realizing that I was using them throughout my career. And I have been really, really happy with how these things have helped me. So before we move into the work-life balance, I have another question there. I think we need our phones again. I'm going to share the Mentimeter website, and we'll address some of the work-life balance questions. Let me know if you are able to scan the code and if you are able to access. Awesome, I see a lot of thumbs up. I'll keep this for a few seconds so everybody has an opportunity to scan the QR code. Okay. So our first question for work-life balance. Do you feel you have achieved work-life balance? Somewhat? No. Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. I think most of us are in the same range, somewhat. I agree with that. But yeah, amazing who is like saying yes. The next question, how often do you work after hours? We have one no. Awesome. Always. Always is, oh God, always is winning. I can't believe that. Okay, rarely. That is fair. As and when needed. I think that is the case for most of the time. Okay. Next question. Have you missed a personal event because of work? This is tricky. Let's see. Yes. Oh, wow. I think we have a lot more yeses than no here. Okay, let's go to the next question. Do you feel pressure to stay connected with work on your vacation? Okay, a lot of yes. We have some no's also. That is good. And I think having the Teams and emails on phone is not helping. I think the best way probably is to disconnect when you're on vacation so you don't feel the urge and you don't feel pressured. And I think we have one more question. On a scale of 1 to 10, rate your current work-life balance. 3, 9, amazing. 9, many nines and eights and sevens. That is good. Okay. So let's continue with the presentation. I just discussed, I feel everything that I do to manage my time balances my work life. But there are a few more strategies that I can probably discuss additionally, which I follow. First, create boundaries. Create boundaries within your workplace and home life to maximize your efficiency. For the longest time, I avoided having work email on my phone. And longer than that, I avoided having Teams on my phone. But as your role and responsibility change, you cannot always avoid it. And it also becomes necessary as work culture is changing very fast. We're practically carrying the office with us on our phone everywhere we go. So, some simple practices to adapt in your daily life to create these boundaries. If there are no known emergencies, avoid checking your phone and emails once you are home. Do not feel pressured to take a client's call after hours or respond to an email just because you happen to see it, right? Just like keep it unread till the next day. Doesn't matter. Nothing happens. Turn off the notifications. If you cannot control the urge of responding or checking, I would say just turn off the notifications unless you're working on a deadline or actually you know that something is very important and you need to stay focused on that. So, having said that, it is important to take the ownership of your work. No matter at what level you are in your career, your role or the specific project that you are working on may require you to be aware and attentive to the responsibilities and possible emergencies after hours as well, right? So, what can we do to not let the work interfere in our life once we are home? in these cases where there are like emergencies. I mean, we are not doctors, so most of the emergencies are not life-threatening, but still they're important, right? So in those cases, I would again say try to have some assigned time so you're not compromising yourself, your family, your kids. No need to keep on checking the phone for every now and then. Communicate with your team if that they can text you or call you if your immediate attention is required. Otherwise, just have a scheduled time towards the end of the day. So you can, even if it is after hours, you can work within that scheduled time and not let it affect continuously once you're home. Incorporate effective stress management practices. So, effective management practices like mindfulness, regular physical activities, yoga, taking breaks, change of work are very impactful. Be flexible or adaptive. So, having the flexibility, meaning to be able to adapt and adjust your schedule to accommodate the unforeseen conditions or circumstances or even personal needs, is very important. When my kids were younger, and if the school called that they're not well, no matter how important the work that I was doing, I had to leave it and go home to take care of the kids. And the next day then becomes more stressful as you're trying to make up for the time that is lost. In today's and back then, working from home in architecture absolutely did not exist. But today's flexible work environment allows you to accommodate for these unforeseen situations. So even if you must stay home for the second day, when the kid is probably well but not well enough to go to the school, in that case, you can stay home, probably catch up on some of the work because you have this ability to work from home now and still be the mom that you want to be and be with your kids. So make the most of today's flexible environment. The next point is just like continuation of that because that allows you uh, to make the most of today's flexible work environment, right? Um, have a fixed schedule for work and life. Have a scheduled day. Like try to maintain a fixed schedule. Try to come to work at the same time every day and leave at the same time every day. It is okay to make an exception, which our field again requires more than often. But try not to make the exception a norm. Again, avoid checking emails, messages often after work or weekends. Have your weekends for yourself. And if it is absolutely necessary, carve a few hours specifically for the work and stay within that limit. Speak up. I think this is very, very important. And I think most of us do not do that. After trying everything for time management and work life balance, if you still feel there is much more on your plate than what you can handle, please bring it up with your manager and have a discussion. Times have changed, and in most workplaces, there is a lot of respect for every individual. If you don't speak up, no one may notice that you're struggling. It is absolutely okay to request for help as and when needed. And last but not the least, do not self sacrifice. Unfortunately, if speaking up is also not working, it may be time to explore new avenues. Again, time is changing, and there are more opportunities available where employers are giving more importance to the work life balance of their employees. Oprah once said in one of her talks, your job is not who you are, it is just what you are doing on the way to who you will become. So true, right? Personally, for me, when my kids were young, I was very particular about giving them the time. And I always told myself that all my time after work belongs to my kids. As they started growing up and did not need me as much, I realized that I still need that time for myself. A happy me is much more productive than a tired and stressed me. Now, as we are coming towards the end of this session, let's quickly have some last thoughts on this very important topic, mental health. CDC defines mental health as mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well being. It affects how we think, feel, and act. It also helps determine how we handle stress, relate to others, and make healthy choices. I'm not an expert on any of the topics that we are discussing here. This is merely my take on these topics based on my background, years of work in architectural field, being a working mom of two kids, and being able to handle the daily stress of architecture as a very happy and satisfied individual. I fully understand that certain things are easier said than done, as everyone has different abilities to handle stress and can have different context. I strongly feel that we as today's generation have added a lot of undue stress on our daily life that is taking away from the gifts life has given to us. It is very important to be in the present. Live the moment you are in, as happiness is the key to life. I'm not saying set small goals or be less ambitious in life. What I'm trying to say is learn to appreciate what life has given to us and how far you have come along. Try to define your own goals and take a moment to enjoy when you achieve them before setting up the next ones. And lastly, I want to leave you all with this quote that I read somewhere and I personally completely relate to it. When you value what you have, the goals will become logical transition in life rather than something that you cannot survive without achieving. Thank you.